remember when I said I'm not going to do a makeup video because I recently had surgery and I don't want to do too much on my eyes, and so I'm not going to do it for a while? I lied, but not really. Today I'm doing my foundation routine because I changed it and it's been great for me. It's been working for me really well, and I figured I'd share it before I do anything else because I can't really do anything else. My eyes are as plain as can be. If you'd like to see that routine, the products I use, my application and everything, and my little trick that I do when I'm finished doing my makeup, watch this video. Alright, I want to start by tying back my hair. I am already... am I primed? No. I've done my skincare, which I will go through on a different video. I'm still waiting for some things to arrive, and the stuff I've been testing, I've only been testing for like a week. So my NARS concealer, the Soft Matte concealer, you know about, I've used it, I've talked about it before. I've started applying it differently, and I've bought a NARS primer and a NARS foundation as well. My face is almost completely NARS. They're good. Their matte products are nice. It could also be contributed to the skincare that I've been doing, but we're going to talk about the makeup today. So I bought the Soft Matte Primer by NARS. I didn't have a sample of this product, I just kind of bought it because it said Soft Matte. And it isn't silicone based. So it does leave a stickier kind of feel, but I have heard that that's good. It's supposed to. You want the makeup to stick to you. By 7 hours, I'll just have healthy looking, glowy looking skin. And I just kind of get that in on the pores and tap that down. And whatever residue is left, I put it on my neck. Okay, cool. And also this, because I was prepared for a cold day. I was excited because it was going to be colder. This is the closest color that I found. It's light too. It's called Mont Blanc. It matches my face, but because I've tanned a little on my shoulders, I've stopped using a beauty blender. I've started using a buffing brush, the one by Real Techniques, just with a flat top, very dense. And I put a little bit of the product on my hand. It's very liquidy. I tap it and I apply it. Listen, the product dries quickly. So I shouldn't have applied it on both cheeks. I should have applied it just to one at a time. And you work quickly and lightly because it sets a little. From what I've seen, it doesn't oxidize. So it's not going to get darker, which is always my worry because I'm so pale. But you want to work quickly. And it gives you the flexibility to kind of work without having to push the product in. It gives you the flexibility and the time when you're buffing it in. But if you do one side completely and then do the other will be more difficult to kind of blend in. And I do have a bit of a problem area now. I've eaten a lot of chocolate the past couple weeks and it shows. And I sort of buff that in as much as I can to, it is full coverage. Where did it go? It's a hard bottle, but it's a liquid product. Excuse me, that was rude. So yeah, don't squeeze it too hard. Too much will come out. You'll have to use it all. It is full coverage. Just lightly buffing it, and I do kind of blend it down to my neck a little bit. If I do use too much product by accident, because it does build up a little bit, I go in with my Mario Badescu skincare spray, and I use my beauty blender. I'll spray that a little bit, just to kind of lightly dab some of that foundation off, because it does kind of pile up at the end of the day sometimes, if it's a hot day. And you don't want that cakey look above your lip. I don't. I feel like I look like a dry desert, even though I'm oily. It's a complicated world. Just kind of push in any excess product over my nose. I forgot to do my forehead. So if you've noticed, I've put spots of foundation 3 times now. I do a different section, then I move on, because you're dealing with a matte product. It does dry. Spread it out as much as I can. Any excess goes over my eyes and under my chin and everything. I never liked going in with the brush. I felt like I was too oily for it. But this feels matte. It doesn't feel greasy, it doesn't feel oily, and it looks matte as well. So I felt more comfortable doing it with a brush. And with my concealer as well, the Soft Matte Complete Concealer by NARS. I also have started going in with brushes. I use a flat brush to go in and apply the product. And my biggest, densest, fluffiest brush to kind of buff that in as well. I'm going to grab a mirror because I actually don't know what I'm doing. I buff that as central to the application as I can, and then up and out in circles. and then kind of dabbing out the excess of it, just so it's like still a light application and it does get everywhere. It is very, is the word spreadable? It's a soft matte, it's soft, so it does spread easily. And because I don't wear a highlight, I put on my highlight area concealer, and I'll buff that into the outer portion of my eye and kind of blend it with the rest of it. And I do it this way because I don't want the ends of my eye to crease, like if I'm, you know, laughing and all that stuff. So it's concentrated here on the cheekbone, and I buff it upward, and just with the excess, whatever's on the brush, I'll do the top of the lid. And again, because it is matte, I'll go in section by section. And I don't take it directly under my eye as well. I take it just under, so that when I buff it up, it is softer on that eye bag area, so it doesn't crease. It, like, with matte products, you always run the risk of easy creasing. So I find it's easiest and it works better to kind of apply it in a place where I'm not going to crease down here. And then I blend it upwards because it's soft like that. And then, you know, under the nose, I try to go a little lighter on the nose area. Like I kind of just spot it down and just blend out just very lightly. Again, I try to use as less product as I can and buff it out as much as I can. So, and a couple spots of this, like a little, will go a long way. And I do focus my makeup to the central portion of my face, right? Because on the outside you go in with your bronzers, your blushes and all of that, but you want to lighten the middle of your face, right? You want to bring the middle of your face up. So I will only apply a couple spots up here to kind of blend it into the part here where I've put concealer. And then just a little bit in the center to make, I have a small forehead, so it's to make it look a little bigger, not bigger, but more open. Is that the right word? For this part, this is exclusive to me. A lot of people, I don't see it often. Hang on. I do my chin and like a little bit over my top lip. With the top lip, I don't do too much. I just kind of on the cupid's bow. Because I do have thin lips and I do want to bring that out a little more, like as much as I can. And then on my chin as well. Now, a part of what I do that I don't see many people like to do, here. And I don't take it all the way up anymore. I used to, I don't anymore. I just do it around this portion here. I have ruined my face in the sense that I clenched my teeth a lot. It happened after I had braces. I clenched my teeth a lot and I've developed muscles in my jaw that I thought were a jawline up until recently. It's excess muscle, right? That just causes some problems. So I try to blend that in with the light part of my makeup, because when I go in with my bronzer, I remember, if you've watched, I can't remember which video it was, I talked about looking very masculine. And that's because of that excess growth in muscle. You'll see it in a second. I bring it down only to about here, and I blend it up and around, because I don't want that focus to be on that muscle. I don't want to bring all of that forward. I want to flatten as much as I can of this and bring out the cheekbones alone. You'll see it later. So I have started adding concealer here to this portion and trying to bring some brightness to make my face look a little more even. So with setting, the issue with it is, yes, it looks great when you set and you feel matte and everything and you're setting your foundation, it doesn't move, doy. When you're out for a few hours, that oil that starts to come out looks like, what's the word? Mud. When I first did this combo, I didn't use too much of my setting powder. I used a little bit on my nose and a little bit just under my eyes here because that's where I have the most concealer. And I was fine. So this part is optional. I still do it because when I am out, I'm out for long hours. Ultimately, I do end up taking this with me, which isn't ideal because it's a bottle. And if you're interested, it's the Ben Nye Natural Set translucent powder. I use it for my special effects stuff and it sets really, really well. And to use that, I use a little fluffy brush, not a big one. And I try and very lightly apply it so it doesn't have that mucky effect throughout the day, and I can apply it little bit by little bit. And I sort of spot dab it I typically apply the majority of it where I applied my concealer, and then with the excess kind of brush outward or flick it outward. So NARS have the Laguna bronzer in matte, which I've bought this product once and I use it every day and it's still good. What I've started to do you see this, how it sort of stops here? I'll take it and put it in like a little smiley and blend it in circles until it's smooth, but it stops here. And like I go in with my blush later and I blend it all out and it looks nice, but I do stop the bronzer at that line. I don't take it all the way down. I never really have, but I used to bring it from up here around my cheekbone. I don't do that anymore. I'll go in and blend it in a second. With the excess that I have on my brush, I take it under my jaw and around my chin. I take my biggest, fluffiest brush. These are all by Real Techniques, by the way. They just don't all have names. Multitask brush. And with this, I buff it out even more. Now, I dab it a little bit on the cheekbone here, just a little bit, if there's excess, so it warms up my face a little. I don't always do it, but then when I add the blush, it's warmer still. I only really do this in the summer when I have a little bit of a tan. I use that with whatever excess is on it, just a little bit on the top here. And then in circles, I take it down my neck and then just try and blend it as well as I can. I take this little brush. It's by Lime Lily. It's just a larger fluffy brush, a softer, larger fluffy brush. And I tap it into the same bronzer. I don't take my nose contour all the way up into my brow anymore because I'm pretty narrow here between my eyes. Adding more bronzer to it, I've found that it draws attention. It draws less attention if I use creams, but I'm not using creams. I'm using powders, which is less easy to control. So I basically just make a little U shape here at the tip of my nose, and I bring it up a little bit, maybe to halfway. And I also bring it a little bit over the top here. Sometimes I do it, sometimes I don't. I find that this makes it look like it's a little more pointed upward, and also it brings a little more color. If it's, again, summer and I've got more color on me, it makes it look like I'm a little bit more blushy. And then I take whatever's left on the brush and I contour or I bronze under my lip. Because again, small lips, you have to make that shadow look a little bit bigger. It gives an illusion that you have a bit of body, even though you don't. Something that isn't NARS. I have an Hourglass bronzer as a blush. It's hit pan incredibly. Like, I've had this for so long and I've dropped it so much. This is all the product that's left in there. But it works. All right, this brush I got as a gift from Mecca Cosmetica. It's a Mecca brand and they gave it to me on my birthday. So I don't know what it's called. I think it's a highlight brush, but I use it for my blush. It's really small. And I usually dab around that entire area because I blend it out and blur it out later. And I buff. I'll either press down and buff out like that, like by blotting, or I'll go in circles to ensure that some product gets in places that I didn't get to before. And I brush it upwards. Like, it's not a brush, it's a swipe. By the time I get to the end of it, the brush is lifted off my face. Before I go in and do the rest of my face, because I'm going to do the rest of my face off camera and then show you the tricks I do at the end. I've been using the Too Faced Semi-Sweet Chocolate Bar palette to death. And there's a color in there, Coconut Cream, this one. And I need a new one of these palettes, man, it's so good. I'll take a small pencil brush and kind of that center portion of my nose. It's a matte highlight. It's not shimmer. And I dot. And sometimes, like, I'll take my finger and I'll put it in the color. Sorry for flipping you off. And I just apply it because I remember I applied concealer. And that's to set that and make it pop a little more. That is the extent of my highlight. I don't highlight on my cheekbones. Look. When I used to, I loved how it looked. But until I can solve the oily skin thing, I'm not going to, because it adds to my problems later. Why highlight now when I'm going to set it again later, when I'm going to look greasy, not glowy? So I don't do it. That's why as well I apply the concealer down here And when I apply the bronzer, I swipe it up and in circles, and I don't apply bronzer on that portion of my face. I'm gonna go. Alright, I'm back. So, if you can see, a bit of that gloss has come back. It's not much, it's a healthy glow. This is what it will look like for the next few hours. So it's matte, it's as matte as it can get. Keep in mind, I'm really, really oily. So I could go out just like this, and I've done this before, and it's fine. I'm fine, because this doesn't change. It doesn't get too greasy for like another 5 hours. But who would I be if I didn't have this all-nighter setting spray? They have a matte one, so we all know what I'm getting next time. The trick that I do at the very end. After I do all my makeup, so it does get to this point where it's a bit shiny. That's where I want it to be. I'll use the all-nighter setting spray and feel gross till it sets. Okay, I feel like that's as dry as I can be bothered waiting for it to get. So I'll go back in with this, and I'm really gonna press it into my face now. It is essential that you wait for the setting spray to set, to actually dry, or else then when you touch your brush onto it, it's wet, the product will lift with it. And I make sure to get into every like nook and cranny as well. My chin, a little bit on my top lip, not too much, because remember, if it's going to be a long day or a hot day and you're constantly applying lip balm or lip gloss, for instance, like I do, it starts to feel really crusty on the top lip, and you don't want that. And that's my trick, and that's what makes it last super duper long. That's my routine currently. My bronzer and my blush are still the same. I like them a lot. But in terms of foundation and concealer and application and everything, that's what's changed. My skincare has helped a lot because I don't feel like... What's the word? When I wake up, I don't wake up extremely oily. I wake up, yeah, I'm a little oily, but it's not like, oh, I need to wash my face now or else, bleh, you know, kind of gross. It's just, oh, I'm a little shiny. So I feel like it is working, and I will get to that maybe in the next video, actually. So if you've been thinking about this product, give it a try. Get a sample of it, give it a try. It has changed the game for me. That's all. That's all. If you liked this video, please leave it a like. And if you're interested in seeing any other discoveries that I make or elaborating on my skincare, please subscribe and we'll get there. And yeah, have a great week. Bye. Let's get on with the show. Am I dark? Is that better? I have something in my eyeball. I do a little bit of a nose oh my god. Got it. Is my camera shaking? Did I knock my table? Give me a minute. And that was my stomach singing the song of its people. I may be hungry.